And I think that doing this work with the guys for 2 years has allowed me then to like, oh, I can do this easily. I can go on a 15-minute call. And actually, even the call I delivered this morning, phenomenal.
We had a great year, and then we've done that and more in the first 4 months of this year. And I know we continue on this track. We'll be well into the 7 figures by the end of this year.
Welcome to the Awaken Man podcast. You join me and Pete for today's podcast, where we're going to be taking a 10,000 foot view of the last 6 months on the program, on the project, what's going well in the business, what's going well for the clients. So stick around if you want to hear us being transparent and open about our business, our lives, and our clients. So you're going to take some nuggets away from this, I'm sure. Pete, it's weird being back in on Zencastr doing this interview when it was so much better. It was so much better in person, man.
It was fucking loads better in person. Just, in a professional room, professional setup. And we talk about going pro. And I talk about this a lot, actually, environment, right? Getting yourselves in like higher level environments, and your brain begins to think about higher level things. So, and this is like a minor example, but now I'm thinking way differently. So we went to a podcast studio over in Dubai, and it was a real professional setup. They had the best cameras, they had the best lighting, they had the best backdrops. Like the room was built. Literally, it's a podcasting business. It's built for it. And had a phenomenal experience recording 2 episodes, which are probably going to be some of our most powerful episodes. I think us being in that room just elevated the way that we were talking and the way that we were coming across and the ideas that we were having and the nuggets that we were dropping. But I've left that, right, like going, right, guys, now I know the level that we can get to with the podcast and like the video quality that we can come out. We need to upgrade everything. Our cameras, our lighting, our setups, everything needs to be upgraded because put myself in a different environment and was able to see.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of things that we talk about is like just getting to experience a level, then going, right, okay, that's your best is your new baseline. There you go. That's the expression that we use with the guys all the time. It's like when you have a best month in business or you have a really, really exceptional standard that you hit, it now then becomes your baseline, and that's how you become exceptional. Yeah, and I just want to test and agree with what Pete said. You know, having Yassine came and joined us for a podcast as well, which was amazing. There was the 3 of us, and I think that the level that we shared and we opened up and we took from it was phenomenal. But what we wanted to share on today's podcast was just some of the 10,000 foot views of what's gone on in Awaken Man this year that was going to serve you as our listeners. Because I know if you're listening, you're a career-minded guy, you're a businessman, you're perhaps a guy that wants to do better in every area of his life. And I think it's just being transparent about what's going well, what's not going well, some of the things that we've done really, really well, what's been the result of some of the things that we've changed and moved on in the business will help us and you. And the first one is that we launched Heroic Man. This was for me anyway, Pete. Launching Heroic Man, it was something that Yassine talked about a lot last year. Pete and I just didn't commit to it. There was various reasons we didn't actually commit to it because we were focusing on Awaken Man, making that an incredible program, making it world class, which it is. And there was a lot of resistance, and I felt that resistance. And then when we made that commitment, right, we're going to launch Heroic Man, we're going to go all in, and we've created something that's actually exceptional. Like, I'm really impressed with it. And it's 15 minutes a day, mentoring from Yassine, Pete, myself, and it's super potent. Like, I don't know if you've noticed that, like how potent the calls are, because I know you listen in whilst you're training, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, it is good. And I would say like there's a couple of lessons from launching Heroic Man. So for the listeners, Heroic Man is our lower ticket program per se. It's very easy to access financially. And I know like Yassine wanted this to be released probably 6-7 months ago. Me and Ben weren't committed to releasing it. I think we released it at the perfect time.
Yeah,
right. We released it. We've got nearly 50 guys in that program. Every other day there's another couple of guys joining. And the reason we've had so many guys join at that time is because we've spent the last couple of years building an audience and also getting phenomenal results in our core program. And our core program is a higher ticket, is a higher like investment for a guy to come in. But us having that like higher ticket program has allowed the business to really thrive and for us to be able to thrive. Like if we'd released a lower ticket program back when we first started and focused on that, there would have been like times where there probably wouldn't have been the financial resources within the business. So I'm a firm believer actually that we've done this the right way.
There's actually a model called the Tesla model versus the Ford model. I don't know if you've heard me explain this before, Pete. And guys listening in, if you're thinking of starting an online business or you've got to launch something, is that if you look at Ford, when Ford first started making cars, they started from the bottom up. Like Pete was saying, like if we'd have started at like a lower ticket program upwards, and they literally had to build these low price cars, get lots of volume. It was a huge risk, and it paid off. And it was back in the times where probably could have had that level of workforce in America. And so what they did is they kind of built all the way up to the Mustang, and that's the Ford model, and it works. It has worked, and people have made these work across different ways of starting a business. Your customers buy at a very low price, and then you build the next level up. Or you've got the Tesla model, which is where Tesla, I can't remember how many cars they made. I think it was like 100,000 or 1,000, and they just super high priced. And what they did is they then made the next tier down. And what that did is it allowed to create the infrastructure and the level to actually create the business. And now if you look at Tesla, they've gone lower and lower and lower. They're more and more and more affordable cars. But it's all because they made this flagship, amazing, good quality program. So if you are looking to jump into the entrepreneur space online, I believe, like Pete said, it's the much safer way to do it. Create a really, really high experience program and actually splinter down instead of the other way around. I've watched people really struggle doing it the other way around as well.
Yeah, so have I. Because if you're selling something at £100 a month and you're trying to make an income for yourself and you're trying to make a living and you've gone full time in this, you need a lot of people in that £100 a month program to support your living arrangements. I think we've done it the right way. I'm very, very happy with the way that's been released and the growth that program is having. And I now believe, and I think this, Yazim believes this, and so does Ben, is that like the Heroic Man program will probably become our core. I'm expecting there to be 1,000 guys in there in the next couple of years.
Yeah, me too. And actually, just another point from the Awaken Man is actually it allowed me. I spent 2 years coaching a shit ton of guys. But most people coach 3 or 4 guys a day. I coach 25 to 30 guys every fucking day. So I've been, and Pete, Pete's been in there as well, and Pete's been building the infrastructure for 20 guys at a high level. And it's like we've been in the trenches coaching guys so a mile deep every day, making trainings, building worksheets, building frameworks, looking at things that the guys need to work on. So we've almost had an HND, an HND is a 2-year degree in what we're doing, but fully experiencing that. And I think that doing this work with the guys for 2 years has allowed me then to I can do this easily. I can go on a 15-minute call. And actually, even the call I delivered this morning, phenomenal. So yeah, I think it's been a really great, in hindsight, it was a great way to start the business to where we are today.
And here's another win. This is a huge win. We did the whole of last year's revenue in the first 4 months of this year. And, last year's revenue wasn't, we did a great year. We had a fantastic year. It was the first year that I came on board in the business. It was the first year where you could really call Awaken Man like a business. Like when Yazim and Ben were first initially running it, it was like a test project and it was, behind the scenes and very much not out into the market. I come in, put it into the market, and it's now this is a business. We had a great year, and then we've done that and more in the first 4 months of this year. And I know we continue on this track. We'll be well into the 7 figures by the end of this year, which is great. And this leads me on to the next bit, is that this is a lean team. There's 4 of us that are in this business. We're keeping it very, very lean. We might take on 1 more person this year. My historic business, I had a team of 19, 20 people. It was a very, very different sort of animal. The profit margins were nowhere near as high as they are in this particular business in the Awaken Man. It's a great lessons here to what you can achieve in different spaces.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I've learned as well, is that this, the reset from my old business, is that I had a big old animal with lots of staff. And staff, it's great to have a business with staff, but equally there's a lot of bandwidth it takes from you. And it's been really potent what we've done. And the way that we've been doing it is that we've got 2 sessions a day where we're on a call. And then in the rest of the time, we're working on the business. So actually we've created a business that's really quite powerful, in that it doesn't need loads of people to be doing marketing and selling and all that sort of stuff. And I've actually really enjoyed creating it like that.
And just an insight for the guys listening, one of the ways we were able to do so much revenue at the start of this year was that we'd just given a complete wow experience to all of our clients over the last 2 years, which meant when we then came out with a new offer, we had such high intake from our existing clients.
14 out of the 15 spaces
went to existing clients, and it was extremely easy for us to sell. It didn't feel like a sale. It was like, hey, this is the next thing we're going to do. And we had 14 people out of the 15 just uptake that really, really quickly. And like the lessons here is that you don't always need to go out and like hunt for new clientele. You focus on what you really, really have, like what's under your nose now. Like, who are your current clients that you could like absolutely wow and go over and above to give an incredible result for them and an incredible experience, that they don't want to look anywhere else. They want to stay with you, and they're waiting for you to release the next thing.
Yeah, I don't know if we've done a podcast on this, but the relationship levers, and that is the longevity relationship lever, is like looking at your current clients and how do I get them to refer, re-sign, or reactivate? And like that's a re-sign. You know, like sometimes there's 6 levers you can pull in a relationship-based business. And the last one, I call it longevity. Like, how do I get clients that refer, resign, and reactivate? The 3 R's. And like when you look at it, it's like, actually, yeah, what mechanism have I got in my business to help clients refer or re-sign, you know, at the end of their contract, end of the terms, or reactivate, that they've actually taken a break and come back? And then we have guys, actually, that's something that we presented with Heroic Man, is that guys who had left Awaken Man because they'd come to the end of their experience, they signed up with Heroic Man. You know, so it's actually like, right, it's worthwhile having those programs in place and allowing you to cultivate that in your business. The next one I've got here actually is we've got 60 men on our open week. So we now run what we call breakthrough weeks, where men, probably like you, listen to this podcast, can come and experience our work. And we put a lot of effort into helping you create a micro breakthrough in a certain arena. Like the last one, it was all about helping guys ask, get really, really good at asking for what they wanted in their lives. And guys were asking for sales. They were, you know, guys made money from the week. They had a massive breakthrough in the ability to go and ask for all sorts of stuff. And this one, we're doing it on discipline. So we're going to go a mile deep on discipline. So if you're a man listening to this podcast, like even if you listen to it way after the 29th of June, 2023, make sure you just write the word breakthrough. Like find a way to message us and ask to come on one of these breakthrough weeks, because we've got 60 plus guys. We're going to try to hit 100 before the week's out. It's Thursday now. We want to hit 100 before Friday. And it's like guys are coming on and they're experiencing what we set out to do in the first place, is like help them realize that getting around other men is super, super powerful, and they don't have to be a lone wolf. So I'm really proud of what we've done on this open week. And having Ali, you know, like this is a big win for the team. We've got a guy that's joined as Ali, and Ali McLean is an ex-cage fighter. This guy is a savage. He just doesn't let up. He's got such powerful insights into men's work. He lives and breathes it himself. And he's been a really, really integral part in getting the open week to be this full as well. So, you know, hats off to Ali. We'll have to get him on a podcast, Pete, actually, just saying that. Yeah,
let's get Ali on the podcast. He has some great insights into being a fighter. Like he was like UFC, MMA, like for a long time. Right, so he'll have some great insights. But that's another lesson for this year, and it's one that I was very, very aware of, is like great team members. How like having like an A team member that's going to come in and help change the game. We're extremely aware of that. And when I put an application out last year, back in December, we were looking for a particular person to come and join, we had a shitload of applicants, and Ali stood out from a lot of the guys that applied. Like he really stood out. And I remember I was in Italy at the time, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to speak to this guy now. I can see that he's standing out and he's going well above what all the other applicants are doing. I need to speak to him to see what he's about. And I spoke to him, and I spoke to a couple of the other guys, and like that Ali, he's still standing out to me. I can see that he's got the motivation behind him. He's got the energy behind him. Like there was a couple of skills that he needed to acquire, but we can teach him. Like skills are learnable. Like he can learn a skill, but he's got the hunger and he's got the initiative and he's got the drive, and that's hard to fucking teach. And if that comes naturally, which it does.
Yeah. He hasn't just got it though, P, has he? He's got it in like
abundance.
He's got it in, like a phenomenal level.
Yeah, so like when you're hiring, it's like these are the things you want to look for. That like if someone's coming into business, they might not have the perfect skill set, but you can see that they are capable of learning, but they've got drive, they've got like hunger there. Yeah, they've got that like intrinsic motivation that's hard to find, and that's not normal.
No, not at that level anyway. We'll get Ali to come and share his fighting journey because it's phenomenal.
Yeah, right. And I've got another lesson here. We did 2 men's businesses, which are our live events. We've done 2 in the first 6 months of the year. The first one, which was our first ever live event, we had the very well-renowned Dr. Robert Glover fly in from Mexico to come to that event. Really helped put our name on the map because he's such a big name in the men's work industry. And we hosted an incredible event. And then we did another one off the back of that, which was again incredible. The second one we didn't get any speakers in. We did the speaking ourselves, and it was just as good, right? So there was a number of lessons there, but the big lesson that I want to talk to the audience about is just that we fucking just made a decision to go and do a live event, and then we did it. And we'd never done one before. It was difficult. Let me tell you, it was hard. There was so much organization to do. There were so many little things to think about that it cost way more than I thought it was going to cost. Financially, it took way more time than I thought it was going to take. However, the outcomes from that were exceptional. We had loads more people come into our world. Our audience grew massively. We got a load of clients off the back of that as well. But it was the willingness just to do something that we hadn't done before, just to go, right, we're going to fucking do it. And then we did one. And then I was like, right, we're going to do another one, and we're going to do it in 4 months. And then we did it.
Actually, Pete actually sold, 30, 40 tickets at the event, on the previous event, didn't you? You put a message out to guys and people at the event, and they bought the next event.
Yeah, this is actually a lesson that I've been following a lot more, is instinct. And there's an amazing book called Leadership and Self-Deception. I think we'll probably do a podcast on it sometime. And one thing I took from that book when I read that years and years ago was, when you're standing in a lift and then the doors are just shutting and there's a lady or a man wants to quickly get in, and your internal instinct is to help them get in, or just I want them to get in, but then you don't do anything about it. You just let the door shut, and then you get on with your day, and you don't know, right? They could have missed an important appointment or whatever. But that's always stuck with me, because it was if you have that instinct, follow it. Make sure that it's a tiny little thing, just making sure the door's going to open for someone to get into the lift. But you can apply that to everything. And I'm really following that now. When I have an instinct to say or to do something, and consciously I'm being told, you need to do this, Pete, whether it's opening a door, or whether it's moving over on a seat on an airplane, or whether it's going, fuck it, I'm going to sell the next bunch of tickets to the next event. I'm not even going to think about this too hard. I'm just going to do it right now because I feel internally that I need to do this. And that's been a huge lesson for me, is to really follow my gut and my instincts there, whether it's making a small move or a big move.
Yeah. Well, you actually put one in the group yesterday that one of the things that we've seen is the power moves. And actually, I think we're going to talk about this on the open week and the breakthrough week, is expansive discipline, this idea of power moves. And this is something that Pete said the other day, is what are the power moves that is going to help us get to where we want to get to, to build a project.
Yesterday, I've employed a new coach recently. He's a big name in the industry. And I was like, should I message him and see if we can get him on our podcast, or we can do a podcast with him? And I'm like, fuck it, people, why am I even thinking about this? Let's just talk to him. Talked to him, talked about it, got the logistics, we're setting it up. Right. So it is I felt that instinctively and unconsciously to do something about that. And rather than thinking about it too hard, just going ahead and acting.
Yeah. And I had the same things. We actually built the Awaken Man with a lot of good quality speakers coming on board. Robert Glover, we've had Barry Michaels, we've had Kristen Sargent, we've had Steve Chandler, we've had, who else? We've had some serious
Robert Augustus Masters.
These are some of the biggest names in psychotherapy, psychology, men's work, all across the board. I just reach out to them. I'm like, hey, listen, I've got this group of men. We want to change our lives. We want to grow and learn together. Would you be open to coming and speaking with us? And they just say yes. They have just said, yeah, we have had to pay them. We've had to get things together. But it's all about just not what I call ivory towering people. They're an ivory tower. I can't speak to them. They're out of my reach. No, just message them. And if you actually want to listen to a book that's really, really good on this, it's called The Third Door by Alex Banayan. And it's just about power moves, constantly looking at ways to push yourself into these conversations. And yeah, it's absolutely amazing when you do that in your business. The thing is, I want to share a little bit about is the client results. What's gone really well in the business this year is literally every single day we get clients saying, this is changing my fucking life. This is so much different. A guy called Pete has actually gone on, he called it a sabbatical. where he's not going to be on his gym floor for the next 6 months, and he's just going to work on his business. And he did it. Like, he took, it was a ballsy decision, and he's like, dude, this has changed my life. I've wanted this for such a long time. I coached him there. It was part of his onboarding session. He was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. And he took the action, and he's like, I can't believe I was being putting this off for so long. So now he too is working on his business, and he's got more time for his kids, more time for his new partner.
Goosebumps.
Yeah.
Good little tricep there as well. But Pete, I sold Pete into the program. I had the conversation with Pete, and I looked at this, and I was like, "Fucking hell, this guy! He's a high performer, right? He's training Olympians. He's literally getting people on the podium for the Olympics. This he's playing at a serious level, but he's playing at level 2 as to where he could be." And it's so fulfilling for me personally, like knowing that I've got the persuasion techniques for him to come onto the program, and then he gets these incredible results. And this is happening daily. It's phenomenal. It's a great feeling for me personally, selfishly.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this is what it's all about. And like Dara, another guy, he's just phenomenal. Hearing him, like watching, he's joined our original programs called, what was it called? The
Elevate.
Elevate. We called it Elevate. It was a program we started when we first started working together, and he started on that, and he made a decision to stretch himself and come onto Waker Man, and he's grown it enormously. Like watching how he's explaining his life the other day, we'll put it up on the stories this week. So if you follow at Pete_Taylor on Instagram or at Coach Benjamin Owen on Instagram, you'll see these results coming in this week. Is that he's just shared about how he's transformed his life, and like knowing that we've been a part of that is phenomenal. We've pushed him and we've challenged him, and he's pushed himself, but the coaching and the support has been what's helped him do that.
Well, when Dara came to us, his business was just doing, he was month to month doing just okay. It was a very new business. He was very open in the group the other day. He's like, my business is thriving. And during this period, he has separated and divorced from his wife. He's met a new woman. He's like, I've been like the most amazing relationship. And he's doing a strongman competition next year. Like, he's entering world competitions in strongman. Said he'd never ever thought he'd do that. Like, all these things from just releasing a man's internal beliefs, and then he's able to go and do all this crazy stuff. It's fucking awesome to see.
Yeah, it is. And it's what we started this whole thing for. We knew that inherently we had the skills to help these men. This is something that I was really happy. Every single week we're getting the fruits of our work coming through. Literally on a Friday, we ask guys to share what they're grateful for, what the wins, what the struggles. Guys are saying, my relationship's changing, my marriage is changing, my fathering's changing, I'm leaving a relationship that I'm not happy with. That's a win for me. That's a massive win for me. And hearing a guy that's saying, listen, I'm leaving something that's not making me happy, whether it's a business, whether it's a job, whether it's a marriage, whether it's things, doing it with the support of other guys is being phenomenal. And I don't think you can undervalue what it means to have that support network when you're going through that kind of change. And I know we're going to do a podcast on that very thing in the next couple of months. And the other one is guys there's a guy called Dave in the Awaken Man, and Pete's his consultant. You're his consultant and his personal coach, and you've helped him enormously shift his business, haven't you? I was asking you the other day in the car, who's doing well, and you're like, Dave Evans, and his business is just skyrocketed, isn't it? He's doing really, really well.
Yeah, I mean, we're on a trajectory to over double the size of his business in the first year, and it's not a small business, right? He's already in the millions, so to double the size of that, and hey, my consultancy is good, but it's all him and his wife. They are fucking phenomenal because they apply. They listen and then they apply, and then they go out and they do the work. His mindset is in a phenomenal place. And because of that, they get exceptional results that are not normal.
Yeah, I think what we've noticed, and this is something that we've actually had a lot of conversations about on how we architect the programs, is that we don't want to become an information consuming program. Guys don't come to us to consume a shitload of self-development. They come on to use it and actually put it into action. So that's something a big value for me and for Pete and for Yassine is that we want to be that's something that I've noticed especially Heroic Man. because it's only 15 minutes, it's super potent. And guys are using the things that they're learning really, really quickly. They're not overwhelmed and they're taking action. So yeah, guys, honestly, just wanted to just do a 10,000 foot share of the business this year. And if you've taken some value, great. Honestly, if you want to have a conversation about anything you've heard, head on over to menspod.com and we carry on this conversation in our Facebook group. Equally, feel free to add me or Pete Taylor on Instagram. I'd love to hear what you thought of this podcast, and we will see you on the next podcast.
Cheers, guys.